time, Seth Jarvis. As soon as that went off the stick, I think we all knew that's going in. He ripped that thing. But, Canes tie it 1-1. 1-1. Words are hard for me this morning. That environment last night was rocking.
Yeah, you could tell that the fans in Raleigh were just dying for a game like that where they come out on top and the drama that was there. I mean, it was 2-0 and you get 2 goals in about 3 minutes from Carolina to tie it. And then, of course, everything at the end of that game, Mark Stone able to just barely deflect the puck in to tie it. But I just thought it was funny. They're talking about how horrible the Hurricanes power play has been. It was like 3 for 37 in the playoffs or something like that. And then they score on back-to-back power plays to win the game.
Hockey's weird.
It's weird. And it was a huge win for Carolina. I said yesterday on the show, felt like a must win. Heading back to Vegas down 2-0. I don't know. I think at best you're hoping to come back to Raleigh only down 3-1 at that point and avoid the sweep. So getting that win, now you go to Vegas, and if you can steal one, you come back to Carolina, all tied at 2 for a big game 5. But I agree with you. The Vegas winning game 1 and what we saw last night, we're set for a pretty entertaining series so far. I mean, it's been 2 really good games. I'm hoping that we get 7 full ones out of this.
I think we get 2 entertaining series in both sports because that NBA game the other night was great too. And you know me, I'm not a huge NBA guy, but I watched every second of it, and it was a little sluggish through the first half, and then the Knicks go on that run, and second half was back and forth. But honestly, man, it's hard to complain. You got those 2 things going on. CMA Fest is in town this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going out there tomorrow night just to see Tim McGraw.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at the schedule, but I know
Sunday's the worst night. Don't go that night.
I'm definitely not going Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Nissan at all. Like I can't.
I don't think.
I can't justify paying for tickets when there are decent shows all around the city for free, and it's like, I mean, we'll see. It's not going to be up to me. It's going to be up to my wife to decide, oh, this is what we're going to go do this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
hard to complain though. That's out. College football 27's coming soon.
Saw that.
Get excited.
Saw that. And last night, big news out of CMA Fest. And I know that Big Joe is thrilled about it.
I thought about you and Big Joe at first.
FGL is back.
I mean, FGL, their first album's great.
See, I'm not a huge fan of like their mainstream stuff, like Cruise and the bro country songs that made them popular. Not my cup of tea, but I do like some of like the slower songs that they have, like the less popular ones that I've listened to. But anyway, I thought that was funny. I immediately thought of Big Joe because I know how much he hates Florida Georgia Line. And seeing them come back together last night at Nissan Stadium. I believe he just tweeted on his is it his account? I don't like
Fuzzy Bear.
Yeah, Fuzzy Bear, whatever's going on there. He tweeted, "This must be a sign of the apocalypse. No one asked for this," about FGL coming back. So there you go. But yeah, we got a great game last night, Vegas and Carolina. Tonight we get Knicks and Spurs game 2. And I'll say the same thing that I said about Carolina, about San Antonio. You cannot go to Madison Square Garden down 2-0. This is a must win for Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. And I know he's only 22, but he is the face of the league already, I would say, right? Like the win over the Thunder, I think you are seeing the next big superstar in the NBA. He's only 22. He's never been here before, but this is where if you are going to be one of the all-time greats, like you've got to go and win this game tonight, defend your home court and get it back to 1-1. Because again, if you go down to 2-0 heading back to New York, I don't think they win this series. I'm still taking the Spurs as of now, but this is a must win. This is a put up or shut up moment for Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, it felt like in game 1, you could kind of see the toll a sweep takes on a team as opposed to a 7-game series. It looked like the Spurs kind of ran out of gas, and the Knicks, of course, have been played in, 9 days before that last game, so they were pretty well rested. Shooting for the Stars in that first game for either team wasn't that great. Like Jalen Brunson, I think, had the game high, but it took him a little bit to get going. Wembanyama had like 26, but
he was 6 of 21.
Yeah,
and had like 6 turnovers too. So
he did not look good.
He's been on like hot and cold throughout the playoffs. You look specifically at the Thunder series outside of Game 7, where he was good. He wasn't great in Game 7, But the other 3 games the Spurs won, it was like, all right, if Victor Wembanyama has a huge game, they're going to win. If he doesn't, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
And so the Spurs are going to go as their alien star goes. And if he has a big game tonight at home, I think they even up the series. But, they're talking about on First Take right now. Is tonight a must-win game for the Spurs? I really think you have to win this game. Madison Square Garden is going to be a ridiculously tough place to play.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up on Sunday and then Tuesday. I think if you lose this series, the Knicks might be lifting the trophy for the first time in 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about. But the matchup for Wembanyama isn't in his favor. Like, I think Karl Anthony Towns is a lot harder of a matchup for him than Chet Holmgren was.
Yeah.
He's bigger. He's more physical. He plays better defense. He can score better on the interior. He can kick it out to the outside, make some threes.
No bias for you there, though.
No bias whatsoever. I have nothing but, hatred towards Karl Anthony Towns. No, but realistically looking at it, Karl Anthony Towns is one of the better centers in the league.
No, he is.
And he's a tough matchup. I'm not saying that Wemby isn't better than Karl Anthony Towns because I think he is from a talent standpoint. But it's a tough matchup for him. And you saw it in game 1. Cat had, 18 and 12? He had a double-double on him. And, you saw what Victor Wembanyama looked like out there. He was struggling. So it's a tough matchup for him. I'm not saying he can't overcome it.
Yeah.
I actually expect him to somewhat overcome it tonight because I think this is must win for them, like you said. But it's a tough matchup for him. And you're kind of seeing how he adjusts from a toothpick to a big buff guy playing for the Knicks.
Well, and I do think, and yeah, you're right. Like Chet and Karl Anthony Towns, different types of players, different body types. But I think we did see playing against Wemby wore Chet Holmgren down throughout that series. By the end, he looked like a shell of himself. So we'll have to see, does having to deal with 7'4" Victor Wembanyama stretching the floor, making plays defensively, does that wear on this Knicks team throughout the series? But I'm excited for tonight. 9010 says, can we agree that this has been a great NBA playoffs? And I will agree with that.
I agree with that.
The NBA has been dying for something like this over the last few years that gets people bought back in. I know that the NBA is mainstream popular among sports fans, but I do think it's lost a little bit of the allure to people who aren't diehard NBA fans. This year, I think, has brought a lot of them back. It's brought me back. That Spurs Thunder series was awesome. And there were some blowouts in there, but game 1 and then seeing game 7 where the Spurs were able to hold off the defending champs and the Knicks, seeing them make this run. I think it's been a fun playoff so far, and I do hope that we get a really good series. That starts with the Spurs winning tonight.
I agree. I wish it was like this all season because the NBA has the potential to be so much fun if the players actually care during the regular season. And they don't because it's too long of a season. So I just wish we could see this level of defense, this level of offensive scoring, this level of intensity that they're showing. And I understand it's the finals. It's do or die at this point. But I wish we could see that in game 36 between the Grizzlies and the Hornets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you make a good point. And it'll never happen because schedules, playoffs never get smaller. They only get bigger. But the NBA, I think, would be a much better product if they only played 60 games.
No, I agree.
Could never happen because, you'd ruin all records whatsoever. You'd lose money. So it would never happen. But I do think that the NBA would be a better product if they just shorten the season.
And that is why we stick with college.
Yes. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Some thoughts on Florida Georgia line. 4312 says the worst country band of all time literally burned my ears all the way in Greenbrier from downtown. But then Dustin from Hopkinsville says, no way, Florida Georgia Line, the band's back together. Hell yes. So, the dichotomy of man.
Look at the call screen.
Speaking of Dustin from Hopkinsville, he has called in. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dustin, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Maybe it was song that makes me want to roll my windows down and cruise. How you like that, Texture?
No, that's pretty good, Dustin.
Yeah,
you got some pipes on you, man.
Actually, if I want to do karaoke, man, I can actually sing pretty decent. My wife and kids told me I should try out for American Idol. I was like, I'm too shy to sing in front of people. So here we are, singing on 102.5 The Game at 9:12 in the morning. Anyways, so I hadn't watched the NBA in so long because of LaFleur and all the fouls, and the game's changed so much. It's more offensive, hardly any defense. But I started betting a lot, and I watch players rather than teams. And there's a lot of players that are on the ban list, and there's a lot of players like Drake London. The year Cousins threw that 500-yard game, he was just clutch. But I really got in, and the betting makes it more interesting. So I got into watching Jalen Brunson and Cat. And Cat was one of those, every now and then he's let you down, but Brunson almost always, SGA almost always good for 25 points, okay? And then I started watching Brunson and Cat, and Brunson's just this no BS, good little guard. He's short, but he's got so much fire. He reminds me so much of myself. And I really enjoy watching them, man. And Cat, former UK player, like Chet Holmgren is the biggest poser in the NBA. I mean, he's just a tooth. He's tall. That's it, man. He can shoot, but I don't need some tall guy to shoot threes for me. I want a guy like Cat, got some beef on him, can muscle you around, can take those toothpick legs to Wembanyama and tire them down. But the NBA has gotten so much better. And this is to tell you, I'm not so much of a homer for Cat. He just is miles ahead of Chet Holmgren. And I'm an SGA fan, but the flopping stuff is getting me way off him. I can't stand that fake stuff. All right, I do say always, if a team's shutting you down, drive to the goal. If you've got talent to draw the foul, but don't try to flop. You can get bigger players to foul you just by driving with no intention to score. Just put it up, and they will foul you. But the NBA, these are my two favorite teams, ironically. The New York Knicks and San Antonio. I love them because they're young. They got a lot of really good bench players that are underrated, and they're going to come out in this series. But, man, yeah, it's gotten a lot better. Just Jalen Brunson, he's just a dog, and he's my type of player. I love watching him. A guy just go out there and take over a game. It's almost Jordan-esque, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate the call, Dustin. Yeah, you have a good one, too.
Go Cats, baby.
Yeah. Picking up the phone, did not think we were going to hear his best Tyler Hubbard impression, but there you go. And, I agree with a lot of what he said about I think SGA, what he said about SGA, he's a very good player. I think he's gone too far to the end of the flopping spectrum. Like, I am of the opinion of their free throw merchant is a casual statement because it's like guys attack hips. They're able to put defenders in bad situations that lead to fouls.
He embellishes a little bit,
when you fall to the ground on almost every shot you take, that's too much. Like SGA can go to the free throw line and not be a flopper, but the way he's been doing it lately, I think he's gone too far.
Who's worse, him or James Harden?
James Harden.
James.
Much
Harden.
worse.
That's
not.
He's got the head bob too. He's got the head bob.
615-737-1025. It's funny. John just texted in and sent the link. Have you played the 20-0 game?
I am addicted.
So
20-0? Is that the football version?
They made a football version 20-0.
There's a Kentucky version too of Kentucky basketball. So 40-0.
They have 82-0, 20-0. They made a hockey version, which is 84-0 now because they're going to play 84 games next year.
Do we have 162-0 yet?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Well, it's funny, John, that you mentioned that. Later in the show, I have come up with a version of the game just for the Titans of 20-0. We are going to go and try and build our all-time Titans team, but there are specific rules for it. You can only use certain amount of players from certain eras. We'll do that later. But I did want to talk Preds coming up next. Big week here in Smashville. Chris MacFarland introduced as the new president of hockey operations and general manager of the Nashville Predators. We'll go through some of the comments that he made in his introductory press conference and here on 102.5 The Game. Talk about what the timeline should be for the Preds as he tries to get them back to being playoff and Stanley Cup contenders. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 102.5 The Game.
Joe, right? Who I had the good fortune of working with. And, from the second I walked through that door, that was the plan, on the ice and off the ice, to be first class, no matter what the record is. We are going to do things first class, and we are going to build something special incrementally by, small step by small step. And sometimes that takes time, and sometimes that takes honesty about where you're at in an organization, honesty with the players and the coaches, but that's and the fans, and the narrative to the people of the Preds fans, whether they're in Nashville or in the throughout the land. But that's what we're going to look forward to try and do here. And I think Bill and I got into the weeds on a lot of different things, and obviously there's work to do here. We're not where we want to be, but there's a lot of good pieces here, and there's a lot of draft capital, but ultimately the results happen on the ice, and we just want to put our players and the team in the best position to have success and make life as easy as for them off the ice, so that they can focus on the job at hand, which is trying to win hockey games, which is not easy to do in this league. So.
That was Chris MacFarland at his introductory press conference back on Wednesday, talking about what it takes to build a contender in the NHL. And then Parker jump scaring us.
I mean, to all the listeners driving down I-40 who are involved in a pileup, we apologize.
There was no fade there. It was straight into it.
Which was worse, this or Walker Hayes the other day?
Oh, Walker Hayes, 100%.
Walker Hayes is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, people don't like Florida Georgia Line, but I would say those same people couldn't argue that Fancy Like is a much worse song.
Just hearing Dustin sing this, I had to play it. I'm sorry. It will not happen again.
I would like to specifically apologize to our Louisville friend, 4312.
Yeah.
We may be rivals, but I agree with you. And I think you need to play some Hank Williams Jr. next to wash things out.
Chris MacFarland introduced on Wednesday, and I thought he did a good job of setting expectations for what he's going to come in here and do. He said immediately that the goal has to be to win a Stanley Cup. That is the goal of every team. He said that he asked Bill Haslam in his interview process, are you going to be happy and high-fiving each other just to make the playoffs every year, or do you want to go win? And Bill Haslam said, we want to go win. But I think Chris MacFarland also did a good job of tempering those expectations and saying, it's going to take some work to get this team back to where they need to be in that conversation. But that leads me to the question of what should the timeline look like for Chris MacFarland and the Predators? I think on paper, this hire looks great. One of the best candidates that they could have brought in, but there has to be some sort of expectation of when this team is going to be back towards the top of the NHL, where you have a chance each spring to make a run and try and go win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting hire. You're seeing a lot of things you're hearing a lot of things that you want to hear. So I think he passes the eye test. I think he passes the ear test. It's just a matter of, like you said, what does the timeline look like? And that's an interesting question, because I think a lot of it depends on the prospects you have. A lot of it depends on the young guys you currently have on your roster. And he made sure to stress that, guys like Luke Evangelista, Matt Wood,
yep.
Brady Martin, who I think will be a Predator next year. Those are the guys that need to take the step forward, because that's what the future depends on. As far as, how long will it be before they're Stanley Cup contenders? I don't have an answer to that. I don't think anyone does. But it's made clear that that's what they want to do at some point. I don't think they're going to go all in this year to try and get that, because I don't think they have the roster makeup. But that's up to Chris MacFarland. If he thinks they're a Dylan Larkin away from being a competitive team, then he may go out and make that move. I don't think so. But if he thinks so, then that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I saw the Dylan Larkin trade request, and I don't know if that's a move I would make if I'm the Predators. I mean, he's a good player, but is that really going to be somebody who moves the needle with your current core? I like that Chris MacFarland, he said, we're going to look to acquire players in a certain age bucket, which I thought was an interesting way of putting it, but an age bucket, which I think means, we're not going to tear it down to the studs and try and build around a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds, but we also realize that this core of older players is not going to be the team that gets us back to being a Stanley Cup contender. So I think you're looking for those guys who are NHL ready players or current NHL players, but they can grow with this team over the next 3, 5, 7, 10 years, whatever it may be that gets this team back to being a championship contender.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, you're in a new era. You are officially in a new era. The Barry Trotz era is over, and we can talk about what we thought of the Barry Trotz era another day. But as of right now, you're in the Chris MacFarland era.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to see. I'm curious what he's going to do. I'm curious how is he going to manage things. I don't think it's fair to expect him to come in immediately and turn this into the Colorado Avalanche where they're instantly Stanley Cup contenders, because that's not a realistic line of thinking.
Well, yeah, like when he got there and he wasn't the GM there, but he was the assistant GM, they already had Nate McKinnon at that point. Like that's a major piece that got Colorado to where they are now.
You don't have
Nathan McKinnon with you right now.
You have major pieces like that are going to be pivotal to the success moving forward. Like Luke Evangelista, I mentioned, I think is pivotal to the success of the Preds. Brady Martin is pivotal to the success of the Predators, because if you draft a guy that high, you expect some big results out of him. But I think I don't want to say we're in wait and see mode, because I don't know, but I don't expect the Predators to just tear it down to the studs, but I don't expect them to go all in. I kind of expect this season to be similar to last season, where they're kind of hovering around that wild card spot. And, maybe they miss the cut, or maybe they get in their first round exits. But it's a different kind of first round exit. It's not we're in the murky middle, as he called it. It's we are building towards something to where we are bigger than that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There's a difference between being a first round exit when you feel like you're ascending, rather than a first round exit when it's like, all right, well, that's the best we could have done this year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like we're getting better next year.
Like take a couple years ago, for example. They go on that long point streak. They end up in the first round of the playoffs against Vancouver, and they're out in the first round. But if they didn't feel like they were ascending,
right, they wouldn't have made the moves.
They wouldn't go all in and get Steven Stamkos, Brady Shea, and Jonathan Marchessault. So it's a different kind of mindset that you have to have. I hope they get to that mindset to where they feel we're ascending. We are going to go all in and build things around our young pieces. I don't know. We're in wait and see mode right now.
Right. I mean, he's only been the GM for 3 days. So, we've got time to figure out what it's going to look like. But 3 weeks from today is the draft up in Buffalo. That'll be the first big test of Chris MacFarland as the new president of hockey ops and GM for the Preds. 615-737-1025. Quickly, let's go to Nate. He has an NBA comment. Nate, thanks for waiting. What you got for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. I just I caught the tail end of y'all guys talking about the guy from Oklahoma City, flopping around.
Yeah.
And stuff.
SGA.
Yeah. And I was like, boy, them guys cannot help themselves. Y'all got to take a dig at the NBA some kind of way, man. we got the most exciting finals we've had in some years, and y'all talking about a guy flopping, man. Come on.
No, and I think the NBA, the product is getting better, but you have to agree that flopping.
Wait. What you mean the product is getting better?
The last few years, the product of the NBA has not been great.
Oh, stop. Look, come on. I never hear you say that about hockey. Nobody even watches hockey. I couldn't even tell you who was in the Stanley Cup Finals right now. But I don't hear nobody talking about, what needs to be done to fix hockey, and nobody even watches hockey.
I would disagree with you there, but appreciate the call, Nate. Like I understand what he's saying of that, every sport has its issues, but look at what baseball did. They changed some things, and I think baseball is in a much better spot than it was 10 years ago.
I can't get past the no one watches hockey comment.
Yeah. No one, just because you don't watch hockey doesn't mean no.
Go look at the ratings for game 1 the other night. Do that for me.
Ratings doesn't tell you everything, because I do agree with what Nate is saying, is that hockey is less ingrained in American culture than basketball is, right? Like hockey has not been one of the American pastimes, but I think hockey is growing. And I don't know if anybody could watch hockey and say that is not a good product to watch.
It's a great product.
Hockey is the NFL is king. The NFL has things dialed into a spot where everybody is locked in on it.
And they always will.
But I think the NHL is just like, it is a great product. not without its flaws, but it is a great product to watch, especially the Stanley Cup playoffs. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp with first pitch at 6:05, and you can catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure and Social Cantina. More Preds talk on the other side. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game.
I think when I look here, there is legit good prospects. Are all of them going to pan out? I certainly hope so, and we're going to try and maximize the number of them that we can. Obviously, the players have to do their part, but college free agency, the Preds signed Pinchuk, right?
Yep.
So that's a European, free agent there that, if he hits, right, and he hits in let's just say a third line center role, that's a home run, right? That's an avenue that I'm really excited about, seeing how he's going to do and add success to the group. And because that's a found player without really, it's just money, right? And it's, your scouts, and that's what they get paid to do. And but that's what excites me, is the team building part and how can we do it. And I think it's going to be an amalgam of, whether it's trades, waivers, free agency. But I think here the fun part is, there is draft picks and there is prospects, so it's exciting.
That was Chris MacFarland on the Chase and Big Joe show on Wednesday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Little cleansing song here from Parker.
I feel so much better. We can now continue with our regularly scheduled White Girl Friday.
There we go. The world is right once again.
I think we've made everyone happy. Hopefully we're calming everyone down, because Nate kind of set everyone off.
Yeah, people are not happy about Nate's comment about nobody watches hockey on the text line, which I agree.
I guess we're nobody.
Just
because
hockey's more popular in Nashville than the
sorry.
NBA is.
In Nashville, for sure. Yes. Objectively untrue that nobody watches hockey. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. We're reacting more to Chris MacFarland, introduced this week as the new president of hockey ops and GM of the Predators. And the way he talked about team building there with Chase and Big Joe, I thought was really interesting, because he made the point during his press conference as well that there are so many different ways to build a contender. And yes, it's worked for some teams to tear it down and hope you get that superstar centerman and he can get you to the promised land. But there's a lot of examples of that not working as well. You look at Carolina. They're more of a team that was built through a lot of really good players without that superstar on their team. Vegas is a little bit different, because
they're all superstars.
So for Vegas, some of their players were built through the expansion draft. I think there's a handful still left, but a lot of trades for Vegas. I mean, most of their team was built through trade. So there are different ways to build a team. And for Chris MacFarland, he kept his cards really close to his vest, to his chest vest. I think both work. On Wednesday, on the coaching staff, on the way he wants to build the team, on the direction he wants to take the team. But there's so many different options for Chris MacFarland of where to take the Predators next. I'm really intrigued to see what this offseason looks like, really starting over the next few weeks with decisions on Andrew Brunette and leading up to the draft in Buffalo.
It's interesting, because I don't think this is a particularly interesting free agent class. There's no one in this class that's really going to set you over the top. Like, I think the hottest guy out there right now is a guy currently rostered with Detroit, and that's Dylan Larkin. So
right, yeah, he would be a trade candidate.
A trade candidate. So it's interesting, because I don't know how much he's going to actually attack the free agent market. The draft is extremely interesting to me, because you and I have talked about this before. I don't think that the draft strategy for the Predators is going to change just because they hire a new GM a couple of weeks out of the draft. It's going to be relatively the same. But I think you'll see some changes. I think especially in the later rounds, you'll see some guys that MacFarland would prefer more so than Barry Trotz. So this offseason is going to tell you a lot about where MacFarland thinks the Predators are in terms of being close to a contender. Does he keep Barry Trotz? Does he keep Andrew Brunette?
Yeah.
That's something that's interesting.
What does he do with the veteran players?
Yeah. Do you trade Marchessault off? Do you trade Stamkos? I mean, it's
O'Reilly.
important to note that a lot of these players that they have under contract that are big names have no move clauses.
Yeah.
So they don't have to go anywhere if they don't want to. And I think you're going to end up sticking with some of them. Like Stamkos, I don't think will go anywhere unless he wants to. Yossi's here. Forsberg, I think, is here. Although he did mention that he's going to have a conversation with Philip Forsberg when they asked about Ryan O'Reilly. So that's interesting to me. Saros is here for the long term. So you have guys here that are locked up for a while. It's a matter of, can you move the guys that didn't quite fit the system?
Yeah.
Like Marchessault, I think, is definitely going to be moved.
Well, I think you can guarantee that one of Jonathan Marchessault or Andrew Burnett's not going to be here. Now, because you can make the argument, if you decide to move on from Andrew Burnett, that the next coach would be a better fit for Jonathan Marchessault. But yeah, I agree. If Burnett's here, Marchessault's gone. And there's a chance both of them are gone. But I would say there's no chance that both of them are still here.
Yeah, I don't want to see Andrew Burnett gone because I think he's a good coach. But I just think there are some players on this roster that don't quite fit his system. And I feel like I think Adam made a really interesting point yesterday that if anyone else in the entire National Hockey League was Andrew Burnett's boss, meaning they were the GM in Nashville, he would have been fired a long time ago.
Yeah. He
Barry
probably would have been
Trotz
fired coming back from Sweden.
Yeah. Barry Trotz had a long leash on Andrew Burnett. And, some of that's okay because you saw some good moments with that. But there were times where I thought he's going to get fired.
Yeah.
Especially that Sweden trip where they came back and they were just looking
They lost
awful.
like 11 of 13 and were the worst team in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I lean towards him maybe being gone. The way Chris MacFarland, again, he held everything really close in that press conference. He was not giving anything away, but it was like the way he answered the Burnett question of Andrew's a really good person. He didn't say he's a really good coach and said that they were going to talk. I would lean that he's gone, but I definitely think there's a chance that he's back. There's lots of big decisions for Chris MacFarland to make. It's funny. I'm looking at the NHL free agents for this year, and they need to update this. I guess it is true that Shea Weber is technically a free agent this year, but he's listed as the 8th highest ranked free agent on Spot Track.
Who hasn't played in 5 years.
But some of the names out there, Jason Robertson's one that's been brought out. He's a restricted free agent, so you would have to offer sheet him. Maybe that would be the big move I think you could make on the open market. Another guy out there who he has not been great lately, and we talked about him as a possible trade candidate all the way back in the spring of 2023 was Patrick Laine when he was with Columbus. He's a free agent coming out of Montreal now. He's been hurt. I don't know. There's I don't think that would be something that fixes everything. And maybe that's more of a go for it move for a team that's taken a lottery ticket on a guy who obviously was very successful early on in his career in Columbus. But I agree with you that there's not a move you could make that would be oh, they're going for it this year.
Yeah.
There's not that type of player out there.
No, that was last year.
Right. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you have thoughts. We'll continue to talk Preds to wrap up our number 1. We've got some college football talk coming up later, some Titans, and much more. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up. 105 The Game. This is bold one here. Fergie.
Oh. Yeah, that's right.
What does that even mean? No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. This is that song.
Was that the song in Blades of Glory?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's only one song that we're going to be skating to. My Humps by Fergie. There you go. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. We're talking Preds this hour. As Chris MacFarland was introduced back on Wednesday, had a lot of good things to say, but also was, kept things within the circle of how he is going to attack this offseason and the future. But I thought it was interesting when Bill Haslam came on with Chase and Big Joe on Wednesday. He mentioned, and I don't think he specifically meant a certain amount of years, but he said, if we look back in 5 years and say it was a mistake, then I'll gladly own up and take that mistake. But that got me thinking of is 5 years the right timeline of is the window for Chris MacFarland? I think in the NHL specifically, you're going to get a leash to try and figure things out. And I think the Preds have shown specifically they're going to give GMs, coaches, plenty of leash to try and work things out on their own. So I think 5 years is probably a good timeline. Do you think that's about the time that the Preds have to be back in not just the playoff conversation, but in the Stanley Cup conversation? I think that's a long time to try and flip over this roster and build around the young core.
Yeah, it's a long time. And it's hard to say what will we look like in 5 years because I just don't know.
Right.
I don't know how he's going to attack things, how he's going to build this roster, how he's going to build the staff around it. And that could change from year to year in that 5 year span. But I'd like to think that's a good timetable of, at least what we should expect him to do something with. And it's interesting. I think he talked a lot about, how much they think they're in the middle right now and how they want to get over that hump. But what I think makes me feel good about the hire is just how well regarded and well sought after he was for other teams in the NHL. And, obviously you gave him a major promotion, making him the president of hockey operations and GM. But at the same time, it shows you entrust him. And I think his workload and his resume in Colorado is something you can look at to help you. Obviously, like you said earlier, there's no Nathan McKinnon walking through the door tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Bill Haslam did say he hoped it was a package deal, but
yeah, it doesn't happen like that, but we wish it did. But it's a matter of how do guys progress for you? How do your young guys? And I think that's the key here. And he mentioned that as well. How do the young prospects that you have? And, we know that Milwaukee is a well-regarded prospect pool in the NHL. So how do those guys develop down there and come up here? And if they come up here, can they deliver? The same thing can be said for your veterans. Do they deliver at the same level later in their career? And for some of them, the answer will be no. And that's when you are going to have to make a move or, see how you can manage that contract. But 5 years is a long time. It sounds like a short amount of time, but it's a long time. That's 5 individual seasons. They could be bad some, they could be really good some.
Yeah, I just think that's a good ramp-up period. The next couple of years might not be very good. And Chris MacFarland, he tried to kind of tiptoe around it, but he was saying over and over, in order to be good, sometimes you have to go through a little bit of pain. And I think
the Avs went through a little bit of pain.
Right. They were not very good for his first few years as part of that front office, and they were able to build that team into a Stanley Cup champion by, adding players through the draft. I believe it was his first draft. They had the 10th pick. And again, he was the assistant GM at this point. But they took Mikko Rantanen, and that ended up being a key piece for them as they built up that roster. So I do think that the Preds have the tools available to them to build this up. You mentioned the prospect pool. There are exciting players there, but as Chris MacFarland said when we played the clip in the last segment, not all those prospects are going to hit. You hope all of them do, but out of the guys that we talk about, of these young players, not all of them are going to end up being successful NHL players.
It's impossible. Look at the NFL, for example. In the first round, there are 32 picks made. I would say about maybe a third of them in that first round hit and turn into legitimate NFL superstars.
I would say maybe more than that, but it's definitely,
there are busts in there.
It's definitely about 50-50 at best of you never know. even when you get these guys in your building, you never know. But there are certain assets that you use that you have to hit on. Like Brady Martin has to be a dude. That doesn't mean he has to be superstar Connor McDavid, Macklin Celebrini. You picked him 5th overall. He wasn't regarded like that type of player, but he's got to be a dude for you. He's got to be one of those guys that is part of your next core. I would even say, I know he was the 22nd pick a couple years ago, but the way Igor Cern's being talked about, that's a guy that you think has to be part of the solution for you moving forward. So they've got resources. They got lots of prospects, lots of highly regarded prospects. They got lots of draft picks. Can Chris MacFarland use those tools to build a roster that is going to be sustainable moving forward? I don't think this current core is going to be competitive at the highest level, but I do think you have the tools at your disposal right now to build a team that can be very competitive moving forward.
Yeah, I just don't know realistically how they're going to be able to tear it completely down to the studs with some of the contracts that they have. They have no moves. If they don't want to move and they don't want to be anywhere else in the NHL, then they have the right, contractually and legally speaking, to say that. So we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting, but it's hard not to be excited about the hire. You mentioned it. I've mentioned it. On paper, I think this is one of the best hires they could have made, if not the best.
Yep.
You've seen his track record. You know his resume. He was well sought after among other teams in the NHL. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this goes. I think that 5-year window is a great baseline. We'll see how it goes. But it's hard not to be excited if you're a Preds fan.
Yeah, and I'll take Bill Haslam at his word. He said it with Chase and McJoe on Wednesday that when they first got an initial list of possible candidates, he circled and put a star by Chris MacFarland's name and said if we could get him, we'd feel pretty good about it. Well, they got their guy. Now can he execute and get this Preds team back to where they hope to be, which is in the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup conversation in the next few years? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have thoughts, you can also chat on our YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. Coming up in hour number 2, we're going to check in on Tennessee football. There's been a situation brewing there that I wanted to get Parker's thoughts on specifically. Also,
thanks.
There was a report on Brendan Sorsby a couple days ago. I wanted to get to it with TD yesterday, but we didn't. Possibly going higher in the supplemental draft than many would have thought. We'll get into all of that coming up in hour number 2. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game, second hour on your Friday morning. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Talked a lot of Preds in hour number one. Big week in Smashville as Chris MacFarland was introduced as the new president of hockey ops and general manager. I did want to mention before we get into college football here, ESPN has announced SEC ACC challenge matchups for this upcoming season in basketball. So the men's challenge will be December 1st and 2nd. On Tuesday, December 1st, Tennessee will be hosting Florida State. On Wednesday, December 2nd, Vanderbilt travels to Notre Dame. Kentucky travels to Virginia. So go Wildcats. And then for the women's side, Vanderbilt also playing Notre Dame. So both the men and women taking on the Fighting Irish. Michaela Blakes versus Hannah Hidalgo. Round 2 on Thursday, December 3rd. Tennessee also plays that night at the Virginia Tech Hokies.
So go Hokies.
So go Hokies. There we go. And Kentucky plays Clemson on the women's side too.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave you out.
We'll switch hats. I'll wear maroon if you wear blue.
Yeah, to root against Virginia?
Yeah.
Deal.
We'll do it.
Deal.
We'll do it. December 1st, mark your calendar. Jake Lyman will be in blue. I'll be wearing maroon and orange.
I love the ACC SEC challenge.
It's great.
I think the ACC Big Ten challenge was fun for a while, but just regionally, with the exception of Stanford and Cal, it makes more sense to do ACC SEC challenge. You have teams that are closer together, and I just think that,
and you can get big time, like
right.
On the men's side, you're going to have Duke and Florida play.
Right. Or North Carolina, Kentucky, or something like you get.
They'll play in the Champions Classic. But anyway.
Oh, right. Sorry.
The CBS Sports Classic.
Oh, did they change it?
No, there's two different ones.
Gotcha.
Champions,
Michigan State, Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas, yes.
And then CBS is Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio State, and then it was St. John's last year. They replaced it with someone this year. I'm blanking on who it is, but regardless, they're different.
Yeah, I'm excited. Vandy women's basketball now 3 games announced for next season. So Iowa in Sioux City, Iowa on November 15th. Then Notre Dame, Sweet 16 matchup in early December, and then a game at Bridgestone against Belmont in mid-December.
That's exciting.
So,
Belmont basketball randomly followed me on Twitter yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I've made it.
You have. You're in the big leagues now. Let's talk college football here. I have had this topic on the show grid like all week, and we've just never gotten to it. The Chaz Coleman situation with the Vols.
Oh, yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, former 5-star recruit transferring over from Penn State. At first, it was just, all right, why is he not there? Then there was an erroneous report that he had been dismissed from the team that has since been dispelled. And so now it's in this kind of no man's land where I guess he's still technically on the team, but there's a whole lot going on there that no one really knows.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday there's reports he might have vertigo. He had a concussion last year at Penn State. Just a strange situation overall, and obviously would be a tough hit for Tennessee, who felt like he could be a difference maker in their defense this year.
This is college football now. I don't want to make accusations on the guy because I don't know him personally, and clearly no one really knows what's going on. Like, I've seen reports, like you said, of the vertigo, the concussion. I've seen he's homesick.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I've seen, he's had some work done on his knee. I've seen a lot of things going around. But then there's the Instagram picture that's circulating of him in his dorm room with like wads of cash just laid out in front of him. So this is college football now, man. You don't know what someone's going through, but at the same time, it's hard not to throw the NIL thing out there.
Yeah.
It's hard not to say, well, he transferred for the paycheck, because they don't get paid after the season. They get paid straight up.
Yeah.
As soon as they land, as soon as that plane landed in Knoxville, they probably handed him a checkbook. So it's hard not to throw that around, that the NIL has something to do with it. If he doesn't play this season, and if he's not good to go and he's dismissed from the team, if I'm Tennessee and I'm Danny White, I'm taking him to court. I am getting that money back.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we've seen that. We're going to talk Brendan Sorsby later this hour, too. Cincinnati is taking him to court to try and recoup some of the NIL money that he took there. So, it's a new era. And I will say, first of all, I hope Chaz Coleman's okay, right?
Yeah,
if concussions and stuff like that can be very serious. We've seen guys change. I mean, in the NFL, Antonio Brown is a guy that gets talked about a ton of
Chandler Jones. Oh, Bill Belichick.
Larry Fitzgerald is inside my dog. It can go downhill really quickly for these guys. So again, hope he's okay. If it's just homesickness or whatever, I don't know. But man, it's a strange situation. Parker, of course, you're our resident Vol. Like, what's the feeling among Tennessee fans of a guy who was a really highly regarded transfer, maybe not even being part of Tennessee's team this year?
Well, I want to be certainly sensitive if there's like mental health problems. There was the report of the concussion. There was the report that he was homesick. That's why he didn't participate in spring ball. And I'm not even trying to be funny, but I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of a guy being homesick and missing spring practice.
Right.
Reports are that he's back on campus. He has not reported for workouts. But yes, Connor brought this up. The picture that he posted with the money on his arm, that kind of undermines everything else that's been coming out.
Yeah.
Tennessee recently restructured his contract where everything's backloaded, so he has to play to, I think it's like October, November, something like that, in order to get his money. So that's a small win for Tennessee, but they have already paid him a little bit, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, if Chaz Coleman never plays for Tennessee, I think Tennessee should try to get every penny that they paid him.
All contracts in college sports should be backloaded.
Well, I mean, this is why people are talking about collective bargaining, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't know what the rules are for this. And obviously the things are changing so much with the House settlement. So it's kind of just chaos.
I say that, but it'll still be chaos because you'll get guys that come in and their contract is backloaded and they're, this isn't the money that I signed up for, and they'll hit the portal midseason. It's so
well, you can't. I mean,
right
I guess you could just sit out at that point, but
or hold out or something like that.
Yeah,
it's so chaotic. But like I told you, unfortunately, this is the world of college football we live in right now.
Parker, are you concerned at all? And again, this is not me saying I would be. I just am asking the question, devil's advocate here. 3 players now in the last 16 months have had significant issues with the Tennessee football program. Nico, of course, and Nico maybe is more of a one-off with everything that was going on with his dad and all that. Then Boo Carter last fall, and now you've got Chaz Coleman. Again, I'm not sure there's any reason for concern, but Tennessee has had some pretty high-profile disputes with their players over the last year.
No, I don't think it's a culture problem. I just think it's a matter of, we all know what Nick Saban says, right? You can spend all this money, right? Lane Kiffin spent all this money at LSU, but it ultimately doesn't matter if you're not paying the right people. What does Nick Saban say? You're SOL if you spend the money on the wrong. That's kind of what Tennessee's found themselves. Nico, just that was such a peculiar situation. Boo Carter, also a peculiar situation. I think what it boils down to, and I have no idea what's going to happen with Chaz Coleman. I personally don't think that he's going to play this year. That's just my gut feel, and that's me just being a little bit of a pessimist. I don't think he's going to play. I think it's just a matter of this NIL and transfer portal era. You really have to be careful about who you spend your money on, because if you spend your money on the wrong person, these type of things happen.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think it's more 3 random situations that just kind of happened to Tennessee over a short period of time. I wouldn't say it's a culture issue or it's a pattern quite yet, but maybe it's something to keep an eye on.
No, I still think it's 3 separate situations because they all had some interesting factor that tells you that. Like for Nico, it was his dad. For Boo Carter, it was his mom. And then for Chaz Coleman, we don't quite know what it is right now, but clearly something is up. So
I think his parents are actually on Tennessee's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this has been all self-inflicted.
I think maybe it's less of a culture problem than it is a evaluation problem of making sure you know what these guys are like as people and what's going on in their personal lives.
But that makes it hard with the transfer
it's very
portal
difficult
because it's speed dating.
Right.
Did he have this problem at Penn State?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
Need to ask Jimmy Frank.
Yeah, James. Let's call him.
Jimmy Frank, who, according to College Football 27, might be one of the greatest coaches of all time. I don't know if you saw, they had a screenshot of his contract, and it was 4 straight ACC championships, 15-1, and a 16-0 national championship season.
It's like Vince Vaughn, the greatest Bears GM of all time.
It's kind of the same thing with the Georgia situation, the driving.
Right.
Like, I don't think that is a culture problem because at Georgia,
I
hold
do.
on.
Oh, I do.
Because if you don't have a good culture, you're not winning the SEC year in and year out. What I think is when an 18-year-old gets paid $5 million and their fame skyrockets, you think you're invincible. I mean, think about how you guys were and how I was at 18. If I got paid $5 million at 18 years old, I would think I'm invincible.
I agree with that part of it, but
I don't think it's a culture. You think it's a culture problem?
We're not hearing about this over and over at Ohio State or at USC. Like,
but if you're paying a kid $5 million and he's driving Lamborghinis to class,
but why is it not happening? I mean, I'm sure it is happening at other places, but why is it not happening this consistently other places?
Yeah, I would separate.
I don't know the answer to that.
I think you need to separate.
But I don't think it's a
culture.
culture.
See, I'm not going to say culture like it's Kirby Smart's fault, but like Kirby's got to get a handle on this stuff, right? Like it can't keep happening. Like maybe it's not something you're specifically doing, but maybe there is an action you need to take to stop it from happening.
But if you have a bad culture, you're not winning at the rate that Georgia is. That's what I'm saying.
Lyft, the official sponsor.
If you have a bad culture,
football,
you would be a losing program.
No, that's a good point. I think he's right on that. Maybe there's different cultures.
I wouldn't say it's bad culture. I'm just saying like clearly there's something going on in Georgia that is not happening other places.
Yeah, 100%. We can agree on that. I just don't think it's I don't think it's related to culture.
NIL deal with Uber or Lyft. Boom. Problem solved.
If you're an SEC football player and you're winning national championships, you're winning SEC championships, you're getting paid $5 million, you've never been this famous in your life. You think you're invincible and you do stupid things.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's just in other places, it feels like it's a one-off when it happens. Georgia, it's happening like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not more.
I don't know the reason for that.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Again, the Chaz Coleman situation, it's strange, and no one really seems to have much of an idea of how it's going to pan out, but it's a wait and see at this point with fall camp just a few weeks, a little under 2 months away. But for the Vols, there has been some good buzz about their true freshman quarterback, Faison Brandon. We will talk about that coming up next, as he could end up being QB1 as a true freshman for Tennessee. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Boxing fans, 102.5 The Game and Team Boxing League have your chance to win tickets to see Nashville Smash take on the Atlanta Attack at Municipal Auditorium on Friday, June 12th. Text the keyword FIGHT, F-I-G-H-T, to the game text line at 615-737-1025 for your chance to win. Talking college football here in hour number 2. The Vols, there's been some turmoil around the program with the Chaz Coleman situation. We dove in on that in the last segment. But on some brighter news, I guess depending on who you're asking, it looks like Faison Brandon is starting to gain steam heading towards fall camp as the possible starting quarterback for Tennessee. And in my mind, that's the right decision for Tennessee. Again, not having been around their practices and seen it, but when you have George McIntyre, who clearly has not taken that job and run away with it, having a year in advance in the system, and you have Faison Brandon, who he's a higher rated recruit and he's younger, it makes more sense to go with the young guy, because if you go with McIntyre, Brandon's probably going to hit the portal at some point because McIntyre's going to have at least 2 years as the starter. You go with Brandon, he's your guy for 3 years. Like, I think it makes sense to go with the guy, as long as it's close. Go with the younger guy who has more runway to grow and you can build around him, rather than somebody who's going to block Faison Brandon and likely will send him into the transfer portal at some point.
I think there's risk with both of them, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're both freshmen. McIntyre's had a year in the system, but like you said, if he hasn't taken the job by the reins and run with it by now, then he's probably not starter worthy. But Faison Brandon, as we've learned, true freshman quarterback, they aren't always plug and play. I mean, we've talked about this before. Look at Bryce Underwood over at Michigan. He was fine. I mean, he was a serviceable quarterback. They won 9 games. They went to a bowl game. They won the bowl game. Or, they lost to Texas. Yeah, they lost to Texas. But regardless.
Great game, by the way.
Which was a great game. Yes, it was. But he wasn't, light the world on fire like he was made out to be as a true freshman. He'll be better this year, for sure, I think, under a new coaching staff and, new weapons on offense. But what I'm trying to say is the risk that you run with a true freshman quarterback is that they're fine. They're not going to be light the world on fire. Maybe they are, but the odds of them doing that are lower than you think. The same could be said for Jared Curtis. The odds of him becoming, an All-American in his first year at quarterback are lower than you think.
There's going to be speed bumps for both of them. Like, they're going to have to deal with some of the learning curve, the growing pains that come with being a true freshman quarterback, in the SEC. I mean, look at Arch Manning last year. He wasn't a true freshman. He was a redshirt sophomore. I mean, this was his 3rd year in college football, and he had played a little bit, but you saw he struggled early on in the season to get adjusted to that level of talent, playing at Ohio State to start the season. Some of the early games in the SEC, I mean, the Florida game that they lost, he threw some bad interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
So, but by the end of the year, you saw the growth, and you saw that he had turned into the type of talent that you had expected at the beginning of the year. I think for both Faison Brandon and Jared Curtis, if they are the starters from day one, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be times where you're like, man, that's a really freshman mistake for them to make. But guess what? They are freshmen.
Yeah.
I'm excited for, if it is both those guys as your starting quarterbacks throughout the whole year, final game of the season, them squaring off over at First Bank Stadium. Like, I think that is going to be a really fun rivalry to watch unfold over the next few years. Vanderbilt has closed the gap on Tennessee, saw them go into Neyland and win in blowout fashion last year. Now you've got 2 5-star quarterbacks who could play 3 straight years against each other. I think that's a great storyline between these two schools it's going to be really fun to watch over the next few seasons.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because to me, it's 2 programs trending in a couple of different directions. Like, I think Vanderbilt is ascending, and I don't want to say Tennessee is descending, but they have
kind of like stagnating, right?
They're not shooting upwards like Vanderbilt is, but I think it's important to note, if you start a true freshman quarterback for both teams, you're starting them in probably the toughest conference in America.
Yeah.
Analytically speaking, if we're going the Greg Sankey route.
Like the champions of the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah. When is analytical game 5 again? I can't remember. But anyways, I think it's important to note that they are going to see some speed bumps because they're playing such tough talent. Like, no offense to the Big Ten, you're not playing Minnesota and, Rutgers and Northwestern on a weekly basis like Ohio State is. You're going to be playing Alabama and Georgia and Florida, which those are tough teams and tough places to play, tough environments. It's a passionate fan base. They say it just means more for a reason. So those are the speed bumps you're going to face. And like you said, they're freshmen. They're adjusting to this new level of talent. They're going to make mistakes, but I think starting Faison Brandon, even as a true freshman, is probably the right call. Just because I think the talent ceiling is higher. I think he's proven more than George McIntyre has based on what I've read and what I've heard. And I think the biggest point you made is if McIntyre hasn't taken that job with a year under his belt in the system behind Joey Aguilar, then he probably shouldn't be the starter.
Yeah, that's what if it's close, go with the younger guy. Because he's going to have more time and more room to grow. And with McIntyre, it's like, all right, you had a year in advance to really get yourself in, position set up to be a slam dunk for this job, right? Like Faison Brandon's coming in, he gets spring ball and fall camp to prove that he's the guy. You've had a full year and you should be able to hit the ground running. And it doesn't seem like that's been the case so far.
MTSU could use a quarterback. That's all else. Probably next year.
You have opened the doors to our Big Ten listeners to call in because of your comment there.
One in particular?
I will back it up with listing off the schedule for like Vanderbilt specifically. Like let's look at Michigan's conference schedule last year for Bryce Underwood. At Nebraska, not easy.
Yeah,
not easy. Wisconsin at home.
They were bad.
Yeah. At USC, not easy. Again, Washington at home. Washington was fine last year. So again, not a bad schedule. At Michigan State, they were horrible last year. Purdue at home, horrible. At Northwestern, at Maryland. Like that stretch, it's not good. And then of course Ohio State. For Vandy, here's what Jared Curtis would possibly go up against if he's the starting quarterback this year. At Auburn, at Georgia, Ole Miss at home, Arkansas at home, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Alabama at home, at Florida, Tennessee at home. Outside of that little stretch of, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State, that's brutal.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, Georgia is a tough place to play.
Well, and it's going to be obviously significantly more tough for Jared Curtis, given the background.
He's going to get booed. Mississippi State is a tough place to play. Kentucky can be a tough place to play. I understand why you left them out. But, you have environments in the SEC that are unmatched. And I'm not saying there aren't tough environments in the Big Ten. USC is not an easy place to play. But there's no comparison to me between playing at USC and playing at Georgia.
No, I agree with you. The week in, week out schedule of the SEC, like even playing at Auburn in the SEC opener. New head coach, they're going to be rocking on the plains.
And let me just say this. Until proven otherwise, the Big Ten is the best conference in football.
I agree.
Now. They've won 3 straight national championships.
But I do think I agree with what you're saying of throwing a freshman quarterback into the fire. I'd much rather do it in the Big Ten than in the SEC.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. When we come back, we've had discussions about Brendan Sorsby, and he's still going through the process, trying to become eligible again to play college football. Not going to happen, almost certainly. So his next stop would be the supplemental draft. There was a report this week from a reporter in Cleveland that has him going significantly higher than you might have expected in the supplemental draft. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly alongside you on your Friday morning.
This is her best song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I
Best
don't know
one, huh?
her discography enough to be able to dispute that. Like, I like some of her songs. It's a good one.
This is a great one.
Trying to think if I can think of another one that I like.
Positions,
Eh,
problems.
that was great.
Problem's good.
Thank you, Knicks is overrated.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like side to side.
side to side's
That's
good.
a good one. Yeah.
Bang Bang's good.
Man, you're just firing these off.
I love Ariana Grande.
Connor's our white girl enthusiast.
I listen to everything.
White girl music enthusiast. Let me rephrase that.
Well, the first is also true. We'll just say that.
Moving on.
Anyways, sports.
So there was a tweet on Wednesday morning from Tony Pauline. And Tony Pauline is a NFL draft analyst.
I thought you said Tony Pollard at first.
He's got 47,000 followers on Twitter. He is a somewhat respected reporter. He tweeted this out. Multiple sources inside the league tell me if quarterback Brendan Sorsby of Texas Tech is unable to regain eligibility and forced to enter a supplemental draft, he will be a late first, early second round pick, depending on the order. Presently, Sorsby is graded higher than Arch Manning by several area scouts as we head towards the season.
I do not believe that for a second.
See, I do not believe that he will be a first or second round pick. I think that's too high. And I think in the
I'm with you on that.
in the supplemental draft, it's a game of chicken. I've said this as we've talked about this process. It's a game of chicken of how low of a pick can I bid and still get my guy. And I think teams are going to be wary, given all of the excess stuff that comes with Brendan Sorsby, of sending a first round pick or a second round pick on him in the supplemental draft. I would say maybe a fourth or a fifth would be reasonable, because there are people who believe he would be a first round pick next year if he had, not gotten banned from the sport.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair thing. But like you said, the supplemental draft is a game of chicken. And I don't know if anyone would be willing to use a first round pick on a guy that hasn't played in a
I was
season of
really
football.
surprised to see that tweet.
That's unbelievable to me. And, if I were a team that was quarterback needy, maybe I would consider it, like the Jets or someone of that area. But the teams like the Rams and the 49ers, and maybe we'll just go through the NFC West here, the Seahawks, teams like that have their solidified guy for a while, they're not going to take any chances on this. I just don't understand why he's being graded so high. If he's graded higher than Arch Manning by some scouts, so be it. But I would not draft a guy like that high, knowing the baggage that he has.
Yes.
Knowing, he's not going to play football this season. And more comes out about him seemingly every single day. How much he gambled at Indiana. How much he was gambling while the starting quarterback at Cincinnati.
Right.
So much is coming out about him right now. And he has so much baggage that the media attention that would surround him if you were to take him in that draft, I don't know if you would be willing to sustain that.
Yeah, no, and I do think the baggage is going to weigh him down. I saw a mock draft a few weeks ago that had Brendan Sorsby as the 8th overall pick. So, clearly there is talent there. And based on this report, there are scouts that believe he has first-round talent. Here's what I'll say to you. You said you don't think it's going to be you would go quarterback needy teams. I'm going to say those teams wouldn't do it, because those teams, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, blanking on one more, the Browns, those teams, I think would rather not risk an early pick. And I mean, they don't have a quarterback for this year. They're trying to pick early next year and find their quarterback.
They want a sure thing.
There are safer options, at least that we think right now, are going to be there towards the top of the 27 draft. I think if a team's going to take a chance on him, it would be a team that's kind of lukewarm on their quarterback situation right now. The Vikings, maybe they add Brendan Sorsby to that room. The Atlanta Falcons, Maybe they add Brendan Sorsby. If you could get a third or a fourth round pick, how about
What a room that is.
How about this one? How about the Houston Texans? Like, I
Stroud
think,
doesn't work out.
I think that they are in on CJ Stroud, but this could be let's say they just bid a fourth round pick and get him. That's a developmental guy that you could have just in case CJ Stroud continues to trend in the wrong direction. The Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young, he's kind of on shaky footing right now. I think those are the type of teams that would maybe take a chance on Brendan Sorsby. I think the other teams that need a quarterback are going to shy away because they'd rather save that pick for next year. I think it's those teams that are kind of in the middle that might take a chance on it.
That's a fair point, because I think whoever drafts him, if anyone at all drafts him, they're not going to throw him into the starter position immediately. I mean, he's not experienced.
He's a developmental guy, and he would be coming in for training camp. He would have missed all of the offseason stuff. He would not play a snap this year. But if you're thinking of those teams, 4-3-1-2 says have him sit behind Dak. Like the Cowboys, that's not a horrible idea either.
Chase McCabe, how do you feel about that?
See, and again, I wouldn't say the Cowboys are on shaky footing with their quarterback, but kind of just like the Cowboys did with Dak Prescott, you had a quarterback that hasn't gotten you over the hump to where you want to be. It was Tony Romo back then. They took Dak Prescott in the fourth round. He ended up being a franchise guy. Maybe this is another one of those lottery tickets that you take to possibly be your next guy a few years down the road.
And he's not getting any younger, right? I mean, he's 30 right now? So he's maybe got 5 or 6 more good years in him before
he is 32.
32?
He turns 33 in July.
Okay.
So
maybe 4 or 5 more years in him.
Again, Corey Curtis has been adamant that he's not getting drafted in the supplemental draft at all. I think he's getting drafted, but I also think Tony Pauline's report that people are telling him he's going to be a first or a second round pick in the supplemental draft is ridiculous. It's going to be somewhere in between. If I had to guess, I would say 5th round pick in the supplemental draft.
Corey's adamant about a lot of things that are wrong. So
9194 on the text line says Brandon will probably bet that he's going to go in the 4th round.
Do you think he has like a parlay of teams that are going to draft him?
Yeah. I got the team and I got the round parlayed together, plus 1,000. 615-737-1025. When you brought up the Big Ten,
I know
you knew this was going to happen. Dr. Locke has called in. Dr. Locke, good morning. What you got for us?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm sorry I tuned in after, so I did not call in because of a reference of the Big Ten.
Cool.
But pray tell, what was said about the Big Ten?
We were talking about the difficulty of the SEC compared to the Big Ten, but I prefaced it by saying that the Big Ten right now is the best conference in America.
Thank God. Okay, so I'm starting to get I'm starting to get through to you guys, so that's a good thing. And if we take a little walk back to last season, Vanderbilt, they didn't sit any players, correct?
What do you mean?
In the bowl game.
In the bowl game, Eli Stowers didn't play.
That's it. But other than that, they started everybody. Who did they play? What was that mediocre Big Ten team?
Iowa.
Yeah, how'd that work out for them?
There are plenty of
reasons. Well, hold on. The other mediocre Illinois team, I think they played somewhere else. Who'd they beat? They
beat
walked,
Tennessee.
I think they walked the dog on Tennessee.
And we thank them for that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't care about that. Now, to get on to walk it up on topic, I called about Sousby or whatever his name is.
Sorsby.
Sorsby. I mean, he needed this season to be relevant. He was pretty good at Cincinnati in a conference of who cares, but he needed a Texas Tech so that he could get some media exposure, so that he could, America could talk about him. I mean, other than this gambling and, everybody was, oh yeah, I kind of heard about that guy. He'll probably be a 3rd or a 4th round pick, I'm thinking, and I wouldn't take a flyer. I would maybe go 4th or 5th on him. I mean, kind of like an Aller, like a Drew Aller kind of pick.
Yeah, I think there are teams that believe he has the potential to be an NFL quarterback, but you do have to weigh that with the off the field stuff. And Corey Curtis does make a good point that integrity of the game is the most important thing for the NFL. So those teams are going to be wary if they bring him into their building.
I got you. But what he should have done is called 1-800-Dr. Locke. We would have covered his action. We would have kept it nice and low key. You know, and when you're down to your bookie and you need a lock, you got to call 1-800-Dr. Locke.
Thanks for the call, Dr. Locke. If only Brendan Sorsby was so smart.
I do want to mention that he said Cincinnati is in a conference of who cares. Texas Tech's in the same conference.
That is true. That's true. He moved in the same conference. Well, Sorsby, right or wrong, he was the most sought after quarterback in the transfer portal this year.
He was number one.
Yeah,
it was him and Sam Levitt.
Yeah, Levitt.
And, you know, they were ranked differently on different sites.
Like Sorsby, I think a team's going to take a chance on him, but that report shocked me when it said late first or early second round pick is what it's going to take to get him.
I think he could have been a first round pick if he had played at Texas Tech for sure.
Yes,
but with all the baggage that he has and the fact that he's coming in kind of raw out of Cincinnati, I wouldn't take him with a first or a second.
No, I mean, that's a lot of projection, but we'll focus on the second part of that tweet coming up next, that some scouts have Brendan Sorsby ranked above Arch Manning. Is Arch Manning the slam dunk first overall pick that everybody seems to be talking about him as? We'll get to that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Locally brewed, community-driven, Tennessee Brewworks is the official craft beer of the football offseason coverage here on 102.5 The Game. We're talking about quarterbacks for next year's class with Brennan Sorsby possibly having to enter the supplemental draft next month. We will talk Titans. We're going to play a little Titans game coming up next. But Brennan Sorsby likely going to be he has been ruled ineligible, and likely that is going to be held up in court. So he will be forced to enter the supplemental draft. Tony Pauline put out a report earlier this week that multiple sources say he could be a late first or early second round pick in the supplemental draft, and says presently Sorsby is graded higher than Arch Manning by several area scouts as we head towards the season. Arch Manning, I think, showed a lot towards the end of last season. The growth was great, but the discussion of him as the first overall pick this upcoming year, I think, is still ridiculous.
Yep.
He is a prospect right now that is being propped up by the fans and the media because of his last name. I don't think teams view Arch Manning the way that everybody else does outside. Like, I don't think there are NFL teams that are saying, man, I hope we get the number one pick for Arch Manning specifically. There are a lot of teams that think that there is a good cluster of quarterbacks that could end up being good enough to take first overall. But I don't think it's like far and away like an Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence situation where these teams are like, man, this is the year to have number one because Arch Manning's coming out. He hasn't shown me anything that would put him in that tier of prospect quite yet.
I mean, it depends on what he does this season. Because you can go across. I mean, look at the last two number one overall picks.
Yeah, they came
virtually
out of nowhere.
No one thought that those two were going to be number one overall until it happened. And everyone, once it happened, it was a foregone conclusion. Cam Ward's going to go number one overall. Fernando Mendoza is going to go number one overall. This is a little bit of a different situation because I think a lot of people expect Arch Manning to go number one overall, like you said, because of his last name. But I think the momentum he showed last year can carry over to this year. Texas is freaking loaded right now. I mean, you've got him. He's throwing the ball to Cam Coleman, who I think is in the conversation.
He's got is it Trevor Gooseby is his left tackle, who's probably a top 10 pick too?
Yeah, I think those three make up probably, you could argue, top 10 picks.
Got the best running back out of the portal. He does not have an excuse to not produce this year. No. If he's going to be the first overall pick, he has to produce.
His coach isn't helping his case.
He's talking like he knows they have the best team in the country. That's what he's talking about.
And with Arch Manning, the point of this conversation isn't to say that he's not going to be the number one overall pick. I just think that I don't know what's separating him other than his last name. Like,
I would rather have him than Sorsby.
Sorsby, yes, but there are other quarterbacks out there that I think I would be,
it's all system fit, right? Because I think Arch sort of fits the Sarkisian system. But if you were to take, Trinidad Chambliss, for example, and put him on Texas, I don't know if it would work as well. So the same thing could be said. If you were to take Arch Manning and put him in the Ole Miss system, I don't know how that would work because Trinidad fits that system so perfectly that it makes Ole Miss a good team.
I think we should be discussing Dante Moore as the possible first overall pick more than Arch Manning. Because, like, Dante Moore, if he had come out this year, probably would have gone second overall.
Yep.
So wouldn't he be the guy that is, hey, man, if you're going to tank this year, it's for Dante Moore maybe. For Arch Manning, like, if he came out this year, he would not have gone first overall. I don't think he would have gone second overall. Maybe he would have been a first-round pick, but I don't think there's anything that you can look at and say Arch Manning is the surefire number one pick. That's something that's being made by fans and media, not being made by the actual evaluators in the NFL.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation because, as we know, we are all idiots when it comes to the NFL draft. No one knows anything. I remember this time last year, we were talking about Garrett Nussmeier as the number one overall pick. And then we were talking about Arch Manning because we thought he was the savior. But there are quarterbacks that I think have a case to be better than Arch Manning. Trinidad, I think, has a case. Dante Moore, you mentioned. I think if he produces well, and it's all dependent on how his team plays, Lenore Sellers might have an entryway into that conversation. Yeah. It all depends on how the teams perform. And does the quarterback elevate the team? For Arch Manning, he absolutely has to if he wants to be the number one overall pick. And I'm certainly sure that there are teams out there that are looking at that last name and think, oh, wow, he really reminds me of his uncle.
I was going to say, I mean, Manning is going to boost him in the draft class because guess what? It's going to boost ticket sales. It's going to boost jersey sales.
It will, but there are cases where it didn't. The name Sanders did not boost Shedeur Sanders.
Well, he made $17 million in jersey sales or something like that this year.
In the draft, it did not.
No, I understand. Yeah, but that was, I'd say it's more personality based, right? Like Arch Manning isn't as cocky.
He's a good kid.
Like it seems again, not knowing him personally, but based on what we've seen outwardly, Shedeur Sanders was very in your face and was clearly in his interviews did not impress teams. I don't know if that would be the case with Arch Manning, but I agree with you. Yeah, the last name didn't help him. I think Manning might help him. Manning is that's royalty in the NFL.
Yeah.
I just don't think that we should be talking about him as this, like, oh my God, tank for Arch Manning based on what we saw last year. 3337 says, boy, I could live without having to scout quarterbacks for the next decade. Yeah, you and me both. Let's hope Cam Ward works out so we don't have to talk about this specific to the Titans.
People are already talking about Peyton's son who plays at Baylor.
Yeah.
Marshall, baby.
He is a freshman in high school. So
I know.
We'll see.
That's, I mean, that's what the name does. Like I've said it to you plenty of times. If it was Arch Smith, I think he might be being talked about as like a second or third round pick next year.
Yeah.
But
the value that Texas holds too is something.
Yeah.
Like you look at the lineage of quarterbacks that have played at Texas, that holds something in the NFL.
Yeah. I think Arch Manning's going to be a first round pick next year, but I also don't think it's like he's being talked about as this generational, we've been waiting for him to come out prospect. And that's just not the case.
He'll be a top 10 pick. I think so.
He's got, as you said, he's got all the tools around him to have a huge year. If he does that and wins the Heisman, he could be the first overall pick, but everybody marking him down as the number one overall pick, like every mock draft has Arch Manning going number one overall. And I don't get it because there are other, Dante Moore, I would say, has proved it more than Arch Manning has at this point in his career.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, the 20-0 game, the 82-0 game, whichever sport you want to play, has been taking the sports world by storm the last few days. I have come up with a Titans version. We are going to try and build our best all-time Titans team using similar rules to the 20-0 game where you have to pick from a certain era. We will do that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Final hour on this Friday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman will be rejoined by Connor Nute shortly here. Here he comes. Parker Kelly at the controls, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Sorry, when the I'm all befuddled. When the suit calls, you answer.
Yes, when the boss man calls, you have no choice. But we got one more hour with you on this Friday, and we're going to have some fun here. The 20-0 game in football, 82-0, where you spin the wheel, it gives you a team and an era, and you've got to pick a player and try and build a team that will go undefeated. I have taken a little spin on it to a Titans game. We're going to try and build an all-time Titans team that, sure, could try and go 20-0. That might be difficult, but you have to split them into the different eras. So it's not just picking the best player at every position. I've got 4 eras of Titans football specifically. We're not going back to the Oilers. So the eras are 99 to 05,
Okay.
06 to 11, 2012 to 2018, 2019 to 2025.
Those are very different eras. in
You have to
Titans
pick
football.
3 players from each. And again, you're picking a specific season. So you're not just picking Chris Johnson for his entire career. You would pick the 2009 Chris Johnson season, the 2,500 scrimmage yard season. So you understand that?
Yeah.
We're going to go position by position. So you have to budget your eras here to know what you're going to have left towards the end. Let's start with quarterback. Think it's easy here, right?
McNair.
The McNair MVP season.
Jake
Zach
Locker.
Mettenberger.
Yeah. Give me the Met Show, which was 2014 Zach Mettenberger. If we were trying to build an 0-20 team, 0-17 team, I think that would be easy.
We will take Steve McNair's MVP season.
Yes. 2003, Steve McNair is going to be our quarterback. So that is our first from the initial era of Titans football. We only can use 2 more.
Are we drafting exclusively offense?
We're going, so it's, sorry, I should go through if you haven't played the game before.
Yeah.
You pick a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, 2 flexes, which can be any of those positions except for quarterback. Then on defense, an edge rusher, a defensive tackle, a linebacker, a corner, a safety, and a defensive flex, which can be any of them.
Yeah.
So we've got our quarterback. Now we can kind of open it up here. For running back, we're going to take at least 2 running back seasons, right?
Because we get a flex.
Because you get 2 flexes.
Yeah.
So
I
going
think
to
we're
take-
all in agreement on that.
We're
but
going to take Derrick Henry's 2,000-yard season.
yes, but I think we're also going to take Chris Johnson's 2,500 yard scrimmage yard season. I
Yes,
would
we
put him as our running back 1.
Yeah,
There.
that's
so
fine.
Yeah, I
Two-
like that.
2009 Chris Johnson is going in our running back slot. Wide receiver is an interesting one. Thoughts?
What is D Mace's best season?
We could take Derek or we could take
That-
AJ.
So Derek
I don't
Mason,
want to burn the bridge on that era though.
D-Mace was my first thought because AJ, even in AJ's best seasons with the Titans, the stats weren't like ridiculous.
Yeah.
His best seasons actually came in Philly because like his first
he had 1,000 yard
he had 2.
or 2.
So he had 1,051 yards. AJ did in 2019 with 8 touchdowns. 2020 would be the year you would think to take AJ Brown. 1,075 yards, 11 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I think D Mace is going to have a better year than that.
Okay. So we have 1 guy remaining in that era, since we have McNair and Mason.
So are we going to take D Mace? I feel like we have to here
Yeah.
at 102.5 The Game. Your showmate.
It'd almost be blasphemous.
I know we have to. So
So-
D Mace 2003, 95 catches, 1,300 yards,
I
8
like it.
touchdowns.
Yeah. I
So
like
here's where it gets interesting. We got to take a tight end. Do we go Wycheck or do we go Delaney Walker?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
did-
again, we got to look for the best season.
Right.
So we got 2003 Derek Mason. Tight end is an interesting one, and I agree with you. I think Wycheck and Delaney are the 2 that I would look at. Like Bo Scaife never had a season that I think you would talk about. He was kind of the in between of those 2.
Anthony
Um,
Ferguson.
Craig Stevens.
Yeah, Anthony Ferkser. Can we get Ferk back in here?
or Jonnu Smith. Has Jonnu had
No.
I feel like it's between those 2.
When did Frank Wycheck's best season?
So his best
occur?
season was actually with the Tennessee Oilers, and we are not going back
Yeah,
that far.
yeah.
Okay.
But So his best season with the Titans, we would burn the early era of the Titans if we took Wycheck here. 672 yards and 4 touchdowns. I feel like we got to go Delaney. Delaney had a better season than that.
I do too, because I think we should use
right.
We want
to, right. You want to keep your options for Javon Curse or Keith Bullock or Blaine Bishop. Like, you got to have those options
available.
Sharing a brain,
gentlemen. We're sharing a brain.
So let's take 2015 Delaney Walker, 94 catches, 1,088 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Okay.
Deal?
Deal.
All right. 2015 Delaney Walker is our tight end. So now we get to the flexes. Easy one. Derrick Henry's 2,000-yard season.
Easy.
Did we
right?
Yeah, did we not take him already?
No, we took
Chris
we
Johnson.
took
one
Chris
running back.
Johnson.
Chris Johnson's the running back.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry's 2020 season, 2027 yards, 17 touchdowns. So Derrick Henry's 2020 season is our first flex. This one's really interesting, though, for our second flex.
Mhm.
Like, what do we do here? Do we go to Eddie George and go 3 running backs? Do we go with an A.J. Brown season? Do we go back to tight end? This is where I think it gets hairy because there's not an obvious answer here.
Well, think about it. If you have a trio of running backs with Derrick Henry, Chris Johnson, and Eddie George, that's formidable.
Yeah, let's look at like Drew Bennett here. Because
Drew Bennett.
like maybe he's got a season that's better than AJ's. 2004 Drew Bennett, 80 catches, 1,247 yards, and 11 touchdowns.
I like that.
Thank you to Jackson on the text line for pointing us in the right direction there. I kind of like Drew Bennett.
We're all in this together here.
But we would be burning that last spot in the we've already used 2 of the 99 to 05 spots.
I think we should take Dexter McCluster from 2014.
Dexter McCluster.
131 yards and 7 touchdowns.
So just for an update on where we are in terms of options, we got 1 more spot in 99 to 05, 2 more in the other 3 eras, 06 to 11, 12 to 18, 19 to 25.
Okay.
Our team so far, 2003 Steve McNair, 2009 Chris Johnson, 2003 Derek Mason, 2015 Delaney Walker, and 2020 Derrick Henry.
Okay. Do we want
to do Drew
Bennett?
Bennett? If we do Drew Bennett, we're burning the last spot.
And I don't think I want to do that.
I
want to save one for the defensive side.
Do we want to go like 2020 AJ?
I think we should.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Because I think that leaves room for one more. That would be 2 in that era, right? Because we have Derek and we have AJ. I think we can use that other one at the defensive tackle position or the safety.
Yeah.
And get either Simmons or Byard.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right.
I'm just looking quickly to make sure we're not missing anything in terms of like what was there a big year we're forgetting about? Like, did Nate Washington had a 1,000-yard season 2011? But
did we ever get anything big from DeMarco Murray?
Well, yeah.
But if we go running back, I would go
Murray had 1,287 yards, but I would rather take the wide receiver there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going 2020 AJ Brown is our flex.
I think that's the move.
All right. We will take a break here and come back and do the defense. Again, if you've played these games that have come out over the last few days of 82-0 for the NBA, 20-0 for football, where it gives you a team and gives you an era, and you've got to build your team and try and make them the best team possible, 20-0. We're doing that for the Titans. You have 3 from each 6 to 7 year era for the Titans, and you've got to build a team. So far, our offense, 2003 Steve McNair, 2009 Chris Johnson, 2003 Derek Mason, 2015 Delaney Walker, and then our flex players are 2020 Derrick Henry and AJ Brown from the same season.
I feel good about that.
I like the offense so far. We've got 1 more player we can use from the early Titans, 99 to 05. We've got 2 spots remaining for both 2006 to 2011 and for 2012 to 2018, and then 1 from the modern Titans, 19 to 2025. So we will continue. We'll do the defense coming up next. 615-737-1025. If you want to help us out, we could use some help, especially with some of these guys we may be forgetting. Like Jackson texting the Drew Bennett 2004 season was very helpful because
we're all a team here. We're all doing this together.
Right. So let us know if you got ideas for the defense. We will do it coming up next. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. We're having some fun with this 20-0 game that has been all over the internet the last few days. It started with the basketball version, 82-0. It gives you a team and a decade, and you have to pick a player that can help you build a perfect team. We are doing our Titans version of this right now. We've got 12 spots to fill out, 6 on offense, 6 on defense. But we've split the Titans era from 99 to present into 4 different sections, and you can only use 3 players from each. So that makes this difficult. You've got to budget it. So far, we are through the offense. We have 2003 MVP Steve McNair at quarterback, 2009 2,500 scrimmage yard Chris Johnson at running back, Derek Mason in 2003, all-pro player, had over 1,300 yards. Delaney Walker's 1,000-yard receiving season in 2015 is our tight end. And then Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, both from the 2020 season. Derek's 2,000-yard rushing season, A.J.'s best season as a Titan. Those are our flex players. We good?
Feel good about that.
I love our offense.
I think our offense is solid.
I understand there's no Eddie George, but
right.
Due to the rules and the criteria, like we kind of have to.
That's what I want to preface here is we have to budget. We couldn't, if we burned Eddie or we burned Frank Wycheck, we couldn't get any of the 99 to 05 defensive players, which I think we're starting at edge here on defense. We've got one last player we can use from 99 to 05, one left from 19 to 25, and then 2 each from 2006 to 11 and 2012 to 18. Do we just burn Curse here?
Yes,
I think we have to.
I think we have to.
We got to get the freak.
Yes,
we have to.
Javon Curse, first team All-Pro, defensive rookie of the year, 14.5 sack season in 1999 is our edge rusher.
I'm so sorry, Keith Bullock.
Yeah, I know
I
it's
love
tough.
you. You're one of my favorites.
Keith does have good seasons from 06 to 11, but I wonder if we could find better ones.
Right. Like a Brian Arakpo, Wesley Woodyard.
Does Rack count as a linebacker? Would be my question, because that was post flipping to the 3-4. I'd put him at edge.
Are you going strict? So it has to be strictly an inside guy.
Off-ball linebacker.
Okay. So there's Wesley Woodyard or someone having. We'll get there when we get there. We're at
defensive defensive tackle. So I think our options here: 08 Haynesworth or last year's Jeffrey Simmons.
Let's take Haynesworth.
Did Jarrell Casey have a year? He never had a year like either of those players.
No, I
don't think so.
What is it? 06 Haynesworth. I think that's the move.
Let's take Haynesworth, and then we can get Simmons. We can get Simmons later.
Let me make sure we're getting the best year of Albert Haynesworth here. I love that. Pro Football Reference has like all their accolades. So yes, 2007, Albert Haynesworth might have been better. Actually, no, he had more sacks in 2008. He was a first-team All-Pro, top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. 8.5 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. 2008, Albert Haynesworth. You are our defensive end.
Oh, poor
or defensive tackle.
You know who we forgot?
Kyle Vandenbosch. Yeah, no,
but he's not as good as.
There are guys who are going to get left out here, and it's tough. But that's what makes this a good exercise, is because you can't just pick the best players. You got to be strategic with it.
Yeah.
All right. So
now we need a linebacker.
We got 4 players left. We need a linebacker, a corner, a safety, and a flex, which can be anybody on defense. We've got 1 player left in 06 to 11, 1 in 19 to 25. We have 2 in that horrible 2012 to 2018 era where none of these teams made the playoffs. So linebacker,
I'm looking at Wesley Woodyard right now.
That's kind of my thought here is
could we get Bullock, because he played till 2009.
All right, Wesley Woodyard. Sorry, I didn't mean to dismiss you there.
You completely dismissed me.
Bullock had good seasons post 2005, but were they? Let me look at Bullock stats again.
All right, I got Woodyard. We can compare.
Okay, so Keith Bullock. Let's go with Keith Bullock's 2008 season. Actually, 2006. So Keith Bullock had 144 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown, and 4 tackles for loss that year.
All right, we'll go 2017, I think, was Wesley's best year. He had no picks, 5 pass deflections.
This is tough.
5 sacks, 124 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss.
I think I'd go Bullock based on that.
I think I would too. Let's see Brian Arakpo.
Somebody texted in Will Compton. Jackson says Steven Tulloch. Let's look at Steven Tulloch because I think that's a good idea too because his prime might have been post 2005.
We can't use the only season we can use of Arakpo is 2012.
Okay, I think I've got our answer. Let's go Steven Tulloch's 2010 season.
What does that look like?
160 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, a sack, and a pick, and a fumble recovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Nothing's great.
160 tackles.
Nothing's great, but I think that's our best option.
For an inside linebacker.
So let's go
do it.
Steven Tulloch. The issue we're going to run into here, we're going Steven Tulloch's 2010 season. So we are now out of 2006 to 2011 players. So we've got to go from 2012 on here for our last 3. I feel good at safety going with Kevin Byard.
Yep.
And so Kevin Byard, his best season was 2018, 2017?
Okay, so we can't go
2017.
Okay, we can't
That's perfect.
we can't go
That's perfect.
what through 2011.
So
I'm looking at corner. We can't use Cortland Finnegan anymore.
Yeah.
So, here are our options. We either go with a corner between 2012 and 2018, and then we get our deflex, which could be like Simmons from last year.
Yeah.
Or we go cornerback from recently. I don't even know who that would be. Like, who had a really good season at corner?
McCreary.
Well, like Logan Ryan had a couple of decent years.
Malcolm Butler.
Nothing
but
substantial.
Here's my thought for you here. Alteron Werner.
Okay.
He had one good year that got him paid in Tampa.
Okay. And then we go Simmons at flex from last year.
That's kind of my thought. Is we go, was it 2014 Werner? 2013. So 2013 Alteron Werner was a second team All-Pro. He had 5 interceptions, 22 pass breakups, and he was a Pro Bowler. My thought is 2013 Alteron Werner, 2017 Kevin Byard, 2025 Jeffrey Simmons to wrap it up.
I feel really good about that, actually.
I'm going to check around a few other things to make sure we're getting the right answer on the flex.
Did Jason McCourty have any good years? And
nothing like that, I don't think. I have like 1,000 tabs open on my laptop right now.
I do too.
All
Pro Football Reference.
It's literally like 100, just because I want to make sure we're getting the right one. Yeah, Jason McCourty was never a Pro Bowler, never an All-Pro. I'm going to go 2013 Alteron Werner,
because corner is a weak spot.
And then safety, we want 2017 Kevin Byard. That was the year he led the league in interceptions, and he was an All-Pro, first team All-Pro.
Yep.
2017 Kevin Byard. And then let me just make sure. So flex, we got to pick somebody from the last 6 years. I feel like it has to be Jeffrey Simmons, right?
It's either Simmons or Landry where he had.
Yeah, Landry had
10.5.
double-digit sacks.
Yeah. I'd feel
Simmons
more
had
comfortable
11
Simmons.
as a DT.
Yeah.
Because you can't go like Kevin Byard had a second All-Pro season, but we can't double up on players.
Yeah. I think Simmons.
I think that's good. All right, so we're gonna go 2025 Jeffrey Simmons. We feel good about our team.
I feel great about our team.
How do we find out that this is a
there's no way.
20-0 team?
Let's ask the listeners. Let us know what if you had to guess, what does this team end up going, not knowing the rest of the roster and the offensive line.
Plug it in GPT.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that during the break. Here is our team. Again, the rules of this, we're going off of the 20-0 website that's out there where you pick 12 players. It gives you a team and an era, and you've got to try and build a perfect team. We had the limits of 6 different sections of Titans history. You could only pick 3 from each era. Here's what we ended up with. Quarterback, 2003 Steve McNair. Running back, 2009 Chris Johnson, his 2,500 scrimmage yard season. 2003 Derek Mason at wide receiver. 2015 Delaney Walker at tight end. Our flexes are Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, both from 2020. So that's the offense. On defense, 1999 Javon Curse. Defensive tackle, Albert Hainsworth in 2008. Linebacker, Steven Tulloch from 2010. Cornerback, 2013 Alteron Werner. Safety, 2017 Kevin Byard. And our flex, 2025 Jeffrey Simmons.
I'm going to say we don't get it done because that thing hates us. I always go either 17-3 or 18-2.
I agree. We're going to check Chat GPT after this, and we will see what AI tells us it's going to be. 4312 says 17-3. I think that's probably about right. But we will look at this and we will let you know coming up next. We will also do our Monday headlines, try and predict what's going to happen in sports over the weekend. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up. 102.5 The Game.
Please get rid of this next year. Please.
I've already said my piece on this song as the touchdown song. It needs to go away. But I will say that this team that we created would hear this song a lot if they were real. All right, let's see. Okay, they did use my criteria here. So, all right, this is saying our team would be 17-3. That's basically what I've gotten. So
they weren't going to go 20-0. It wasn't going to happen.
20-0 is tough. Like, you have to have a team of all-time greats, and like our roster has Steven Tulloch and Alteron Werner on it. So like, not a 20-0 team, but ChatGPT, I asked it twice and both times it said 17-3. So I feel good about that.
Okay.
Again, if you haven't seen,
That's good.
If you haven't seen these games, check them out. They're addicting. It's 82-0 for basketball, 20-0 for football,
40-0 for Kentucky
I think
basketball,
84-0 for hockey.
I went 78-4 yesterday and 82-0.
There you go. I think that's better than I've ever done.
I had Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, which them two alone, I don't know how I don't get to 82-0.
Yeah.
I had Bob McAdoo in there as well.
Did you have Wilt?
No.
Okay.
If you get Wilt,
apparently you need the Wilt that averaged 41 and 25 to have any chance of going 82-0.
Okay.
So
it's impossible.
And then there is a baseball one, but I don't think it's 162-0. I think it's like perfect diamond or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Parker would be really good at the hockey one.
Yeah, that's true. He's our hockey guy. As long as you get 2025 Parker Kelly on your team.
Dude, that's all I need, man. Imposter.
Again, we created our version of Titans 20-0. Here's how our team ended up. 2003 Steve McNair at quarterback. We had 2009 Chris Johnson and 2020 Derrick Henry at running back. 2003 Derek Mason and 2020 A.J. Brown at wide receiver. Tight end was 2015 Delaney Walker. Defense was 99 Javon Curse, 08 Albert Hainsworth, 2010 Steven Tulloch, 2013 Alteron Werner, 2017 Kevin Byard, and 2025 Jeffrey Simmons. Again, this is not the greatest player or greatest season at every position. We had to have 3 in each 6-year era of Titans football. I hope I explained that well and we don't start getting texts of like, how could you not have Eddie
Where's
George?
Eddie George?
Where's Frank White? It's like we had rules that we had to stay. We had to budget.
Yeah.
I think it turned out pretty well.
We did all right. 17-3. We're Super Bowl champions.
I mean, those were outside of Tulloch. I want to say those were all pro seasons. AJ Brown wasn't, but I think the rest of them were.
Yeah. Good for us. One of them was an MVP.
And AJ
season.
Brown being our second flex.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So
That's fine.
Outside of 2020 AJ Brown and 2010 Steven Tulloch, all of those were at least second team all pros. So
yeah,
do with that what you will. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
I did enjoy that. Now, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to go to my office and play the hell out of it.
Yeah, that is true. That's I will be back on 82-0 later on. I've gotten close. I haven't gotten it yet. Let's do our Monday headlines here. What do we think is going to happen over the weekend? We got lots going on this weekend. I did have softball on there, thinking maybe there would be a game 3 tonight, but congratulations to the Texas Longhorns. They are back-to-back national champions after beating Texas Tech last night. So you got options. You got the NBA Finals. Game 2 is tonight. You got Stanley Cup Finals Game 3 tomorrow. Got MLB. You got college baseball super regionals. Connor, where are you going first?
I will go to the NBA Finals tonight in San Antonio. Game 2, must win for the Spurs.
Yeah.
And I think they get it done. I think Victor Wembanyama has a bounce back game. In fact, I'll go so far as to say he has a double-double tonight.
Okay. I don't know if that's super hot take.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's a parlay.
Okay.
He has a double-double.
And they win.
And they win.
Okay, cool. You know what? My Tigers have got me a little bit back on the bandwagon here.
Uh-oh.
Joe Rexrod was saying it earlier. He's starting to refer to the Tigers as we again. And I'm not quite there yet. They're still 13 games under 500, but just swept the Rays. Give me the Tigers tonight to defend their to defend Comerica Park. Framber Valdez with a bounce back game. They beat the Mariners tonight.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a hot take, but the Tigers haven't been very good. I'm going to say they continue it. It's a 4-game winning streak heading into the weekend.
4's a streak. It has happened before.
Yes. Parker, you said you were excited for your Monday headline. Are you doing this one first, or are you going to save it?
You know what? I'll just do it now.
Let it rip.
I'll start off now. I'm not touching the Cubs. They are bipolar. I'm not touching them.
Evil laugh. Hey,
okay.
In our defense, neither one of us won because we both took it to sweep. And like we said, 2 or 3.
I did get Denny Hamlin right over the weekend.
Yes, you did.
By the way.
So I did say I was going to be bold today. If the Knicks win tonight, they're not sweeping, but they will win in 5. If they win tonight. If the Spurs win tonight, the Knicks will win in 6.
All right.
So the Knicks, no matter what,
Knicks, no matter what, but it depends on what happens tonight.
Okay.
They win tonight, they win in 5. They lose tonight, they win in 6.
All right. I like it. I'm still taking the Spurs, but a loss tonight would send them spiraling in a big way. What you got next for us, Commander?
I'll go to baseball. I'll go to the team that hasn't let me down in a few weeks. St. Louis Cardinals sweep the Cincinnati Reds this weekend.
Okay. I like that.
The Reds are reeling right now.
Yeah, they're injured too, right?
Ellie's out.
Yeah.
This seems like a slight at somebody.
It may or may not be. In his defense, he said it last night. Y'all are going to sweep us.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just confirming what he said.
I'm going to go to college baseball. We got super regionals. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I made a pick and said that the College World Series was going to be all SEC and ACC teams, and it ended up being true. It was 4-4. The SEC has won every national championship since 2018. This is a very strange super regional weekend. I'm not going to the SEC is guaranteed at least 2 spots in Omaha because Ole Miss plays Auburn, Mississippi State plays Georgia. I think they're going to get their fair share. But I am going to say that we get 3 mid-major teams to Omaha this year.
Okay. So you're banking on
so
we're guaranteed to get one.
Little Rock and Troy, one of them is going to Omaha. They're squaring off. I'm going to say Cal Poly beats West Virginia. And I'm going to say St. John's beats Alabama.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm going to go bold. I'm going to say we get more chaos in the college baseball bracket, and we get those upsets that has Cal Poly and either Little Rock or Troy battling for a spot in the winners bracket in game 1 in Omaha.
I think the 3 of us can agree now that all of our teams are out. Give us the chaos.
Oh, yeah. I'm always rooting for chaos, but also rooting for the SEC to keep the streak going just because it's funny that no other conference has won since 2018. Parker, wrap it up with your Monday headline.
Jake, you're wrong.
Oh.
I'm going to go with the song that Connor
Nears.
got really familiar with over the weekend.
You know, you think that would hurt my feelings, but like I told you, I'm more of a majors guy than a college baseball guy anyway.
Fair enough.
I'm all right.
I am obsessed with West Virginia right now because of this song.
This song is not about West Virginia.
I'm picking West Virginia to win in 3 and for the first time in program history, get to Omaha.
You should have played the other West Virginia song, Tavon Austin.
We can play that coming back from the break.
Yeah, there we go. Are we ending the show with that?
Ending the show in style.
It's a rite of passage.
Hey, it's West Virginia Day because Pat White's getting his jersey retired.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. A win for college football fans around the world.
Those are our Monday headlines. If you have any predictions for what's going to happen this weekend, let us know. None of us picked hockey. How are we feeling about game 3 in Vegas? Canes, Knights? You're going Vegas? I'm going to go Canes.
I think I'll go Canes too.
Carolina lost game 1 to Montreal, and they got back on the horse in game 2 and then rolled. I'm not saying they're going to roll, but I do think that they get a big win in game 3 in Vegas.
Well, that's the kind of emotional loss that I think can take a toll on a team. Like you were up 2-0 well into the game, and then you blew it.
Yeah.
So that's it's not on the same level as the Cavaliers blowing a 22-point lead.
But it's a gut punch. You felt like you were going back home up 2-0, and now all even heading to game 3.
And like you said, the Canes have done it before.
Yep.
Where they get it right back. So I'll go Canes for sure.
I also wanted to mention, we haven't mentioned this on the show. We were just talking college baseball. A Division III national championship was won yesterday, including Mahoney Donick.
Let's go.
Congratulations to Denison University, one of the greatest college baseball teams of all time. 51-3 this year.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they went on a 45-game win streak.
Ridiculous.
That's incredible.
Which is unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to Mahoney, the Donick family, and Denison, the Big Red, for taking home the title.
And congratulations to Adam Vingan for not being a curse.
Yeah, did he jinx it or try to?
He did the other day, or he said like 3 or 4 times that Denison was going to win, and then they lost. And then yesterday they lost the first game. So Adam buttholes were tight in here, folks. So then, of course, they got,
family show, Connor.
You do not get to talk to me about that with your white girl. And
you can just say that we were clenched.
Yeah. But anyways, they go to extras and they get the walk-off. and we have a national championship. And hopefully Willie Donick comes bearing our simple request of national championship shirts.
Yeah, shirts, hats, need the gear. Or maybe some champagne to pop in the studio.
Goggles.
Yeah.
Can we?
Just let it rip like you won the World Series.
Do you remember when the New York Mets in spring training practiced what it would be like to win the World Series, and then they missed the playoffs?
You got to visualize it. You got to
do have
visualize your
visualize
success.
You do have to visualize it, even if there's no shot of it happening.
615-737-1025. Last call for phones if you want to join the conversation. We will wrap up the show on this Friday. Coming up next, Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. It honestly kind of worked as like building the tension.
It's like in the WWE when the lights go out, you don't know who's coming out. Oh my God, that's Tavon Austin's music.
One of the greatest highlight videos of all time.
I think
Maybe the greatest.
I think it's the greatest.
It's the greatest. It's at least top 3 with DeAnthony Thomas and John Wall. Those are my 3.
Yeah.
D'Anthony Thomas is definitely on my Mount Rushmore.
Derrick
100%.
Rose had a good one too.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many guys out there that, again, don't have to be the greatest players, but just ridiculous highlight reels. Have you seen the video of Tavon Austin showing that video to his daughter?
Yes.
So funny.
Yes. There's plenty of videos of people showing them that video.
If
like,
you
right as they're born.
If you knew
Well,
nothing,
yeah.
If you knew nothing about college football and you watched that highlight reel, you'd think that's the first overall pick.
Yeah. Like, oh, is this the greatest football
Is this
player
the
of all
greatest
time?
football player to
You know who
ever
else
exist?
had a really good one? Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
He had a great one.
I mean, like one of the greatest ever, of course, Reggie Bush, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, and everyone thought he was going to be one of the greatest players ever and one of the greatest college football players ever, sure. But long career, not a productive career at the NFL.
New Orleans Saints legend, Reggie Bush.
He was a good player. Even when, like, later in his career with the Dolphins, I think he was solid, but just never turned into the superstar everyone thought he was going to be. News out of the NFL. Adam Schefter put this out about 30 minutes ago. The Bears board of directors voted Thursday to advance the stadium development in Hammond, Indiana, with the exact site to be selected. This is the first time that the Bears board has voted on any stadium site. As one source said, there is more work to do, but barring anything very strange, it is a done deal. So the Chicago Bears will be moving out of Chicago, out of Illinois, to Hammond, Indiana, most likely.
That just blows my mind. The Indiana Bears, but they're still going to be called the Chicago Bears, even though they're not in the city of Chicago.
Kind of like the Giants and Jets. They play in New Jersey. They're still New York.
I mean, it's not like it's something you don't really think about. Like, I don't think about the fact that the Giants and the Jets actually play in New Jersey.
And Hammond's not too far from the actual city, but it's just the fact that they won't be in Chicago.
Right.
It's really sad.
I mean, the New York teams play in New Jersey. It's
not a huge deal.
Right. But it's jarring at first. I'm sure they'll get used to it. Dustin from Hopkinsville is asking what the song on the Tavon Austin. Helen Back, is that the name of the song? Yeah, that's what I thought. Great song. Great.
It's a good one.
Highlight.
Who is it? Is it Kid Ink or
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I couldn't tell you for sure though.
It's a good song.
It is.
I'm not really into rap, but it's a good song.
You know, another player close to my heart with one of the greatest college highlight reels of all time.
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was going to say Isaiah Ford.
The play, I think it's in the national. Isaiah Ford's great too, by the way.
I loved watching
the Tech teams with Logan Thomas and even into like the Michael Brewer era with Isaiah Ford and Bucky Hodges. That was the team that went into Columbus and beat Ohio State.
Yes.
Those were fun.
I remember where I was when that game was played.
If you want to talk about players close to your heart that have a good highlight reel, Benny Snell.
Benny Snell. That's a good player.
Will Levis has a good one.
Yeah, he does, from his first season at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
No, the Michael Vick, I think it's in the national championship game against Florida State, where he, like, 3 Florida State defensive linemen are converging on him, and he, like, spins out of it and then takes it 70 yards to the house. He is still that highlight reel is one of the most electric of all time as well.
He had that dog in him.
He served his time.
I was wondering who would pick up on that, and I'm happy you did.
You weren't very subtle about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus Vick could have been 2 of the greatest if they just could, keep their heads on straight.
Or stop illegally fighting dogs.
Well, Marcus didn't do that. He just kicked people on the field. Anyway, it's looking like it's going to be a beautiful weekend here in Nashville. CMA Fest. Are you partaking in any of the festivities?
I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking about, if tickets are low enough, possibly getting out there tomorrow.
I saw they weren't too bad.
Or tonight, because who's tonight? Cody Johnson is tonight, I think.
I have no idea.
Who I love. But I don't know. Being full-time now, I understand.
Chill.
You're drained on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, I will be going around to some of the free stuff. I'm sure Tatum's going to want to, but
of course, Frazier's listening. He says, "Do it, go."
He was trying to convince me to get tickets for
Nick
last
Frazier is like CMA Fest #1 fan. I mean, he was out there on Tuesday. He was out there last night.
He might be Ella's biggest fella.
Yeah, Ella fella. I saw Stella Lefty on Wednesday.
Okay.
Becoming a Stella fella.
Stuff.
She's got that one song that's all over TikTok right now.
But here's
Boston.
the thing about CMA Fest. You could go around Broadway and find some of the like lower end, up and comer people that are really, really good.
Well, and apparently like artists are just hopping around from bar to bar, which I mean happens every year. But like Jason Aldean was at Morgan Wallen's last night, I want to say.
Did he throw the chair?
I don't think so. I don't want to be on Broadway much longer than I have to, but like I'll be around it. And I think this afternoon, or maybe it's tomorrow, Midland is playing a free show like at the riverfront.
Oh,
like that is a free show that I will totally go see. I love Midland.
Yeah. They've got some good songs.
Yeah. I mean, that's Drinking Problem.
Yep.
Mr. Good Time. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are some good types of artists that they're not the big ones that you have to pay money for to go see at Nissan Stadium, but they're good artists that are playing free shows around, and I'll go partake in that for sure.
Yeah. I'm not too thrilled about the traffic situation probably going down in downtown Nashville.
There are not many things I would rather do less than drive in downtown Nashville this weekend.
Yeah.
Like seriously, there is a very short list of things I would rather do.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of holding myself back. Plus, I don't know if I really want to spend, $85 a piece on tickets.
Right, on tickets. And then it's like, if you want,
and then you got to pay for parking
or food. Like if you're downtown for a few hours, you're going to want to get food. It's like, yeah, it can add up pretty quick.
Yeah. Do I want to make a whole weekend vacation out of this financially?
Yeah,
No.
right. I mean,
we'll see.
I think you have to find a good, a good balance of, yeah, it's cool to have this in your city and having it in your backyard and getting to go see some of these artists. But I also don't want a tourist weekend when I spend hundreds of dollars downtown
in my own city that I live 20 minutes away from.
So, it's a good balance, but it's a fun weekend. The vibes in the city are high this weekend. It's the start of summer.
I mean, I love country music. You love country music. He loves country music.
Yeah, I heard that you were by your lonesome yesterday on DVD.
I was the only one.
So nobody on DVD besides you likes country music.
Was Willie there yesterday?
Willie was not there.
So,
but
I think Willie would be on.
Yeah, I think Willie would be indifferent.
Willie's kind of an old soul.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's not his favorite type of music, but I think he would do it.
Well, you guys know me. I listen to just about everything other than like rap.
Yeah, I would say I listen to most everything, but country is the one I listen to most.
Yeah,
me
so,
too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Nevada Joss asked, why is Waka Flocka there? I saw that. He's like playing Acme today.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
For CMA Fest.
I can go see him sing Grove Street, the official theme song of Kentucky
between
football.
country music and other genres have become so blurry.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like Post Malone's doing stuff now.
Well,
Like,
Post Malone has a country album.
Oh,
at least.
yeah.
Waka Flocka has a new song with Chase Matthew, according to Nick Frazier.
Oh, interesting.
So he's performing.
I mean, Morgan Wallen's done stuff with Lil Wayne.
Right.
And
Who's
Lil
the,
Durk.
Who's the
Lil Durk, too.
Who's the rapper who did the country album where he collabed with like everybody?
That was Big X the Plug.
Yeah, with like he had an
With
Ella
Luke
Langley
Combs.
song. There's a
I'm
Post
from
Malone song.
Texas.
Yeah,
That
there
one?
you go. Yeah.
With it was with Luke Combs. That was the SEC song last year.
Oh, right. Yes, I
Yeah.
do remember that. And with that, our show is over for the day.
Great way to end it.
Been a fun one. Hope everybody enjoys their weekend. We'll be back 9 a.m. The plan is to have Max Herz on with us on Monday again to talk all things Predators. So excited for that. Keep it tuned right here. Chase and Big Joe are coming up next. You're on 102.5 The Game.